everyone. I'm starting to get the hang of this whole video editing and audio editing thing. So if all goes well, I'll get this video out by the end of the week, and it'll be my second video posted this week, which is the first time I've ever done that. So props to me, I guess. But since earlier this week I did something a little different, I kind of want to kick it back to the Devlog videos for this one. But the thing is, I actually haven't really done much coding since the last one. I did Discord integration for 4th Dawn, so that's pretty cool. But besides that, nothing really else. Nothing that I can explain anyways. So I'm going to take this episode to talk a little bit about the 8 characters I've drawn, and the art style and the art direction that I've sort of taken for this game. So if we look back at the original prototype of 4th Dawn, we can see that the art style is complete and utter dog shit. So let's actually not look back at the original prototype of 4th Dawn, and instead look at some games that are much better than mine, namely Gods Will Be Watching, The Red Strings Club, and Don't Escape 4 Days in a Wasteland. Now, I haven't actually finished Don't Escape 4 Days in a Wasteland. It was sitting on my Steam wishlist for a long time, and I just kind of bought it when it came out and never got around to actually playing it. But I can safely say I've beaten the other 2. Now, all 3 of these titles are indie pixel art games. I mean, I guess that's really the only thing in common between the 3, despite them technically all being point-and-click titles, but I don't really buy that. But what I do buy into is that 2D pixel art aesthetic, though, especially in the Red Strings Club. That stuff is just absolutely breathtaking. So after I made the original prototype of 4th Dawn and feasted my eyes on some better art styles, I basically ripped the original silhouette of Arion from Sergeant Burden, the main character of Gods Will Be Watching, altered the pixel art aspect ratio for a little bit, and then did some recoloring and retexturing. And from Arion, I used him as a template to draw the rest of the characters and animate them, so I don't have to try and figure out bodily proportions every time, because who studies anatomy, am I right? But that does take me nicely into my next point, which is the characters I've designed in the past week or so. So let me just get my notes out real quick, there we go. So I guess I'm going to start with the neutral characters and then move on to the other factions, and if you need a better idea of how the faction system works, go check out 4th Dawn Devlog 3 Tokyo Drift. But I'm going to proceed under the assumption that you already know what I'm talking about. So starting with the first character of our neutral characters, we have Jaiden. He's another scrapper, like Arion. He has a similar design to Arion with the hoodie, the major differences in design being the robot arm, the red color scheme, the red streak in the hair. Starting to realize he doesn't really look as much like Arion as I originally thought. Regardless of that, he's supposed to feel kind of like an equal to Arion. In the terms of the game, he acts mostly like an exposition character. He talks about things that are important for the player to understand about the world, as well as the mechanics of the game. And besides that, he shows up at a few different points around the game to sort of make the world feel a little more alive and keep the characters consistent, but that's really all there is to say about him. Next up on the kill list, character roster, is our boy Edwin, out here in his nice turquoise sneakers. He runs the fight club that some of you may have noticed in the downtown area, combat being a sort of side section of this game. He's sort of supposed to be a representation of the upper class in the city of 4th Dawn, since a lot of the upper class really wouldn't interact with a character like Arion, who just kind of scraps for food. Edwin is sort of an excuse to have a character who can interact with Arion like the higher-ups would. I have just come to the realization that I am 5 minutes into this audio recording, and I am not even 1/4 of the way done with my character list, so we're going to have to expedite this a little more than I wished. But that's alright. I think I can just pair up a lot of these characters anyways and cover 2 for the price of 1. Alright, let's see. Who can we pair up? Slick and Sly. Bam. Alright. 2 of them. Both rebels. Both brothers. They're one of the side plots I'm trying to achieve in this. I've got a lot of characters who go through their own stories throughout the game, and if you look into it enough, or care to look into it enough, you can kind of learn about them, and in turn learn a little more about the world. A lot more to cover on those 2, but I don't feel like editing another 15-minute video, so let's go. Ashley and Emmanuel. Both of them are guardsmen for the government, which is a form of, law enforcement, and they're supposed to represent my take on how institutions can cause good people with good intentions to commit bad actions. Again, could go much further into those 2, but want to keep this video a little shorter for the sake of my own sanity. Alright, who's left on the list? I think all that's left is Jada. Well, I don't really have much written on her yet. I originally designed her because I thought she had a little bit of a cool character design, and I haven't really gotten around to fleshing her character out. She's a rebel. I needed an extra character for the rebellion group. But other than that, she doesn't have too much written up on her yet. And I think as far as going through characters, that's pretty much it. I mean, I didn't really cover Stefan, but you've seen him in the very first devlog video I did, the one without voiceovers. He's the guy I shouted at to eat his Wheaties, and if he wanted to win that fight, he should have ate his damn Wheaties, but I'll probably hold off on talking about Stefan until I cover the Fight Club section, and I'll probably talk about his relationship with Jerome a little bit in there too, because that's some spicy drama. But that's really about it. Looking at my timestamp in Audacity, I'm starting to realize I didn't have to rush things as much as I did, but I'll always have time to come back to these characters, and you'll always get the chance to see them in action once you finally get your hands on this game in 2 eternities. I guess we'll take this little bit at the end to make a little bit of a tangent on the art style of this game. A common question I get a lot is, why don't any of the characters have eyes? And the symbolic answer for that is none of the characters really know where they're going, and I thought the idea of designing them without eyes kind of symbolically represents that. With the real answer being that I can't make the eyes look good with a span of 6 collective pixels per eyeball to draw them up, so I'm just gonna stick with the former answer because it sounded a lot better. I can go and talk a little bit about the color schemes. All of the guardsmen wear white chrome outfits to trick people into associating them with your stereotypical Imperial Guard sort of character, all of them unified without any individual personality, when in actuality all of them do have their own goals and aspirations and personalities, which is something you can look into. The Rebellion has the green and red color scheme that it does because while you can make the colors red and green look pretty good together, symbolically the colors red and green mean very different things, with green being sort of a freshness, a harmony, a regrowth, and red being a sort of violence, anger, passion sort of thing. And I like the idea that the Rebellion represents both of those extremes. And the Mafia has a purple, black, and white color scheme, purple being representation of wealth and status, with the black and white being in contrast to the grayness of their morality. And now that I've proven that I put way too much thought into very, very simple things, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you enjoyed hearing me ramble about symbolism and colors instead of ArrayLists this time. Alright, see you all in the next one.